Hello everyone, it's Ronnie here, coming at you from Rome, Italy. Still here for a few more days, I guess. Uh, Went to a market yesterday, having a good time anyway. Let's jump into the video. Don't want to bore you with all that stuff. Um, I want to talk about this supplement thing, deficiency thing, and all that stuff a little bit more clearly and where I am with it, because I think people maybe make a mistake with what I think about raw food diet, raw vegan diet, deficiencies, and all this stuff. Um, So, just to clarify, my position on everything that I talk about in the raw food diet does not come from me looking at things online. It doesn't come from me speaking to people over the phone or by email or seeing videos or whatever. It comes from me in the real world, meeting people at I've been to over 25 raw vegan events like festivals, um, educational events, seminars, trainings, things like that, over probably now 7 or 8 countries all over the world, maybe nine, maybe 10, that I've been to these different events. I've met all the leaders, all the teachers, basically name any name, virtually anyone I've met them. Many of them I've worked with, some of them I've stayed with, hung out with, extensively, asked lots of questions of. So, and also all the people at the events, thousands and thousands of people that I've met over the years who are trying to do this raw food thing and recover their health and everything. So my information and ideas and stuff, it comes from that real world perspective, I feel anyway. And what I think is really important, what I think really happens in following people over years and seeing what happens to them and knowing them, seeing them in real life and seeing the result they got and all that stuff. And all that's come together in my head to give me opinions to you that are probably better rounded than your opinions if you've never met anyone else that's doing this, if you've only ever seen things online, and so on and so forth, or you've only ever read books. So a lot of people read the old natural hygiene books. They're very persuasive, but none of these guys were doing a raw food diet consistently. Whether it's Arnold Ehret or Herbert Shelton, none of them learned how to do this diet consistently over a long period of time. So, and that's fine, but we can't go to them for that advice on that particular thing. So anyway, um, what I want to talk about is this supplement thing and deficiency thing and all that again, because it's probably one of the things you're most worried about if you're going down this path of a raw food diet and everything else. So I'm not against supplementation. What I'm against is people randomly supplementing or supplementing because they think it's giving them a benefit. They think it's um, some kind of insurance policy that you might as well do it, that it's not that bad and all this kind of stuff. Well, the first thing is that supplementation is not recommended in terms of the things that people usually do, like taking multivitamins and green powders. That's not recommended ever by any um, science out there, by any report, by any nutritional authority or anything like that. I mean, someone said to me that the Public Health England recommended people to take a multivitamin. I've not seen that. Maybe that's the case. Okay, so maybe that is the case. Um, but when I looked up the NHS report on supplementation on those products, they did not say they did not recommend blankly people to take a multivitamin. The NHS report, the one that I saw from 2011, it said people should get their nutrition from food quite clearly, and that there was no clear benefit from people supplementing from any kind of supplement product, and that these are food products. That's the other thing. These are food products, just food. You know, just like any other food. So they come under the category of food safety. Uh, they're not medical things. They don't have a specific medical impact or effect. There is, however, some situations in which people should supplement. This is what it was saying. Anyway, and that was things like um, pregnant mothers and young babies. Apparently, all young babies are people are told to give vitamins to all the young children because people aren't giving the children fruit, so have to. But anyhow, uh, so when it comes to the raw vegan diet or any diet, I'm not against people supplementing. I'm not saying you should never supplement. I'm not saying no one should supplement. None of that stuff. My feeling and belief on this stuff, though, is that people are way more scared of supplementation and deficiency than is ever reasonable. And people I've seen this so many times, people go on a vegan diet, raw vegan diet for like a day, 2 days, 3 weeks, whatever, like weeks, and they're thinking, oh, I've got a deficiency. And they're weeks into it. And it's just that's the mindset that I don't like, people trying to diagnose themselves. And what's worse is then people who are completely unlicensed, unqualified, don't have the training, don't have the access to your history, don't have the medical records, don't have anything, then going out and telling people you need to supplement this, this, this. It's wrong. It's just wrong. So many people in the comments, like I've lost a lot of followers because people have said, um, I enjoy your videos, blah blah blah, and I've had to, I became vitamin D deficient, so I've had to supplement and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's a shame. When were you diagnosed with that? Oh no, no, I wasn't. I just did my own levels and I was very low. Okay, but you weren't diagnosed with a vitamin D deficiency. No, but I was very low. Okay, but you were not diagnosed with vitamin D deficiency, therefore you have no idea whether you had a vitamin D deficiency or not. Yeah, but I had to do it, and having these rational conversations with people who, for some reason, love this drama of them having a deficiency, because people are so egotistical. Like all they think about is themselves and their own um, health and their own thing, and they're just so fascinated by the whole drama of the whole thing. People get into these ego dramas about deficiencies and their own little conditions, their own little problems. Um, it's kind of silly. So you should, in my opinion, if you're worried about that stuff, you should seek a second opinion, but not a second opinion of like random people, but or your friends or whatever. But the only people that are going to be able to work out if you've actually got some deficiency or not, and can actually maybe work out what that's being caused by, because it might be caused by a whole range of factors. It's too it's too complicated for you to just go and assume that it's this one simple thing, like, oh well, there's not enough nutrition in my food, that's why I'm deficient. It's not as simple as that. It could be an abundance of nutrition in the food. You might have some other underlying problems that are leading to that. There's also situations that probably don't arise so much on a vegan or raw vegan diet, but there's people that can get iron deficient, and it's really the problem is the dairy in their diet. Um, there's other situations like that where you're getting plenty of that nutrient in your diet, but something else in your diet is affecting your ability to absorb that nutrient. So it might be the case you have to take something else out of your diet. It might not be adding something into your diet. Um, but some doctors will mistakenly recommend people to eat more red meat in that case. Well, that's not the way to look at it. So, in terms of vitamin D deficiency, B12 deficiency, these things, I think you should get that diagnosed to see if that's actually what's wrong. What if the symptoms you're having are something much worse than vitamin D deficiency? What if you have cancer, underlying cancer, and someone tells you, oh no, the reason you're feeling bad is your vitamin B12. let's go and take B12. So you go and take B12, your B12 goes up, little placebo effect, you feel good for a while. Okay, great. You don't look into it any further. What if it turns out you've got cancer? You know, this is a real possibility. So, and that's not a scare story, but it's just to say that this could be all sorts of things going on with you. In the area of deficiency and supplementation, I feel that that's medical. Personally, I feel that's on the borderline of medical stuff. And if a doctor doesn't have your medical record, let's say for example, you go to the doctor, and the doctor has a look at your medical records, and you're saying, "Hey, I think I've got a deficiency." Your doctor has a look at your medical records, and all he sees is like, this person's a hypochondriac. This person comes into hospital every couple of months. They've already been tested for this, and they refuse to believe they've not got a deficiency. But you know, I don't know if you're mentally unwell. So if you come to me and say, "Ronnie, I think I've got a deficiency," like what? How am I going to be able to know all that stuff? Because you're going to lie to me. You're going to cover all that up. Many people are going to lie about their diet. Oh, I'm doing this I'm doing a vegan diet 100%, and I think I might have B12 deficiency. How do I even know you're doing a vegan diet? You know, how can I even know that for sure? So for me, it's irresponsible. For me, to me personally, it'd be irresponsible for me to go out and give blanket advice on supplementation or anything else. I think that it's worth being aware of things like vegans seem to have an issue with B12. I think it's worth being aware of that. I think it's worth being aware of the fact if you're a person in the who never if you never get into sunlight and you stay inside all the time and you never go out in sunlight, I think it's worth knowing that you could become vitamin D deficient. But there's not really many other blanket things that you should be worried about. The thing you should be worried about way more is the excess of certain nutrients that lead to disease. Excess is the problem, not deficiency. Deficiency hasn't ever really been a problem anyway. The biggest deficiency problem is the deficiency of calories. That's way more been the issue with humanity. Not getting enough food and dying because of not. Let's get things into perspective. People didn't even have enough food. They didn't worry about deficiencies. They worried about death. You know, so let's get things in perspective a little bit. Well, thank you very much. I've just been delivered this papaya in bed. It's very nice. So, let me think. How can we finish off this video then? So, my hope. I don't want to become a person that's talking about. I don't think that's the 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 message that I want to put out. It's not the message of the festival. Anything that I put out there. I don't want it to be all about supplements. That's not what I want you to be thinking about. I want you to be thinking about getting away from all of the foods that are causing disease, that are causing problems, the excess of nutrients like saturated fat, animal protein, that are causing diseases. And realize that all this stuff built up about deficiencies and all that is fear and scare stories, and it's all come from the supplement industry and all these lines about, you know, you can't trust what's in your food nowadays. That all comes from the supplement industry. And so to clarify, like, I'm not saying you shouldn't or people should never do it. Of course, I like Doug Graham's thing of, you know, supplement in the short term, but work out why the deficiency happened. Work out what lifestyle factors have led to that problem. So there's more to it. I'm worried about people diagnosing themselves. It's almost always wrong. They almost always are lying to themselves. And this is something that a lot of you might think I'm being really severe here, but the amount of people that I've seen completely delusional about what their diet is, the lifestyle is scary to me, and delusional about how they feel. And I really think more and more, like, people are always telling me how much they know their body. And you know, Tim Sheaf was talking about that when he went away from a vegan diet, like he knows his body and all that stuff. Like, I don't really think, I think that's, as soon as I hear that, I just think, People don't know their body, you know. People don't. Most people, there's a 7 billion people on the planet. Most people are eating a diet that causes heart disease and cancer and diabetes. Do people really have the capacity to know their body? Do they know that there's atherosclerosis forming in their arteries? You know, do they know that there's a tumor growing? People are completely ignorant of these things. So, um, you know, concentrate on improving your diet, improving your lifestyle. If you are feeling bad, look at the other lifestyle factors, not just your diet. Look at the other things. Look at the other aspects of your life that you can work on. That's what hygiene is about. A friend was asking me about hygiene, and hygiene is about all the other factors as well. But the biggest thing connected to disease is your diet, for sure. And with my experience of people I've met, the long-term raw vegans, I've never seen any of them being scared or worried about deficiency. Never seen any of them worry about it, think about it a lot, have any fears about it. It's just not something that comes up. So, thanks very much for watching the video. If you want to share it or comment below, I'd appreciate that. Um, and if you'd like to register for the UK Fruit Fest for next year early, go to fruitfest.co.uk/registration and we'll send you some more information about that. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.